He was real. I'm not crazy. I shouldn't be here.
Now, Mr. Dawson, we covered this in the orientation. You've been doing so well. Let's not undo all the hard work we've put in together.
I know what you said. I know what the orientation said, but it doesn't matter.
Mr. Dawson.
Now, hear me out. I'm not saying that PCS isn't real. I'm saying that I don't have it.
This isn't abnormal. As the treatment continues, some part of our mind tries to fight it. How many times have you met a person suffering from a stinking cold, insisting that they're not ill? For any disorder of the mind, that behavior is amplified 1,000-fold.
Listen, I don't think that's the case here. I'm sure that I was misdiagnosed. Hear me out, hear me out. If you're still not convinced, well, we'll take it from there.
Well, strictly speaking, I shouldn't indulge you in this, but I suspect if I refuse to give you a fair hearing, you'd probably do something rash.
Don't worry, Doctor. I'm not the violent type. But I guess in your profession you hear that a lot, and then, someone's face gets bitten off or something.
Quite.
But you are right. It wouldn't sit well with me.
You see? This bond we formed over our sessions is important. You aren't just a case file to me, Mr. Dawson. If I am here to help you, I must understand and empathize with you. So that's why I'll bend the rules just a little, but just this once. Would that be fair in your opinion?
Perfectly. And I really appreciate it.
Okay. Start from the beginning.
Do you remember me telling you about the photograph?
Yes. What about it? You said it was burned and the phantom was unrecognizable.
It was. It is, I mean. But it got me thinking. The picture was at a decent-sized stadium, so I figured it might be from a national event rather than just some lads in the park or a local thing.
Interesting. Go on. I'll just be making a few notes to keep it straight. Don't mind me.
Sure. Anyway, I know that we're not supposed to go back to where we were supposedly exposed. Don't worry, I didn't do that. But I met a chap down the pub who works with the FA.
The FA?
The Football Association.
Oh, yes. No, got you. And he comes into this how?
Well, I talked a bit about my past, and wouldn't you know it, he used to handle some of the business or whatever with the lower league clubs. Once I told him my name and where I played, he knew exactly who I was. What a great chap. He was a bit surprised to hear that I was a butcher now. He'd assumed I'd moved into coaching full time.
Gosh, what an encounter. But why would he assume that?
That's precisely what I wanted to know. It turns out that he'd been asked about our team and the staff, as Man United were looking to build up their under 18s backroom, all the coaches, physios, all of that stuff. See, our under 15s thing wasn't exactly a, star main event type deal. The FA had tacked it on to the under 18s Youth Cup as a sort of side tournament thing, get more people going out to the youth games and stuff because, well, there's more going on. Before each event, our lads would play, or whoever was in that particular tournament session, they'd play, and you'd have something, for people to watch. The parents would come out, whatever. Anyway, not important. There were winners for each of the regions, and my lot, we won ours, but we were the only undefeated team in the whole thing. Hundreds and hundreds of teams across the country, and we were the only ones to have a perfect record. He'd assumed I would have been snatched up. He said that he couldn't be certain, but he was pretty sure all the others had been hired.
And That would be a big deal? I'm sorry, I'm not a football fan, so I'm a bit out of the loop here.
To be hired to work for a first division club? Absolutely. Obviously, the start, if you're not earning as much as a player, it's by a long shot. But compared to what I was doing, it would have been as close to someone like me gets to being in a fairy tale.
Oh my.
Exactly. So I told him truthfully, no one had ever contacted me. I'd have bitten their hand off for the opportunity. Moving the wife and the kids wouldn't have been a problem at all.
Kid. Just the one child, remember?
That brings me to my point. I don't know why I thought he could help, but I figured I'd ask anyway. I told him about the fire and losing all my things. I told him about the photo. Not anything about, what we've been doing here or Barb or any of that stuff. I don't want to bring everything down. But I told him that this was all I had left and it was damaged. I asked if he knew a way to get a copy of it. Like, if it was an official event and all, then this photo probably came from there. He said for me, he'd do some digging. Got me to write down my address and he'd have his secretary have a look for me.
Mr. Dawson, I don't think you should pin your hopes on this. A strange man near the pub who just happens to be a figure associated with your past? It sounds more like a burglar or scam to me.
Honestly, that thought had crossed my mind, so things were a bit tense for a while.
A while? You mean this happened some time ago?
Yes.
Mr. Dalton, you're supposed to tell me about any interaction or event which triggers any memory of the Phantom.
I know. And for what it's worth, I'm sorry I misled you. I haven't been keeping secrets. I've gone into this with an open mind and not resisted, I can assure you. This is the one thing I kept to myself. And I swore that if I didn't hear anything after a month, I'd come clean.
You heard from him?
Take a look. That's just a photocopy I made. But that's him. That's my son. He was real. He is real.
Mr. Dawson, I'm not disputing that there is indeed a young man here in this photograph as you described, and he bears a resemblance to the photo fit we created of your Phantom. But this is someone else's child, that your mind has imprinted as your own, as part of your disorder.
Look closer. That boy is a spitting image of me. He doesn't have the mustache I had back then, different haircut, but there's no doubt in my mind that he's my kid. I don't have any brothers or sisters, no cousins, nothing. There's no chance that he's just a nephew. Unless I've got a long-lost twin somewhere. That's my boy.
I admit this is an unusual situation.
You see what I mean? He exists. So it's not like you said. The Phantom children are not real. This boy is.
Look, let me take a quick look over your initial diagnosis. There are a few things that could be happening here. It could be that this is a new way that PCS manifests. We're still learning about this disorder, so maybe this is a symptom that we haven't seen before.
But I could be right.
There is a chance that is true. But if that's the case, then losing all your memories of this child would be highly abnormal. Look, why don't you step out onto the patio and have a quick smoke? That'll give me enough time to get your records together, and we can go over them together and figure this out.
So you believe me?
It's not a matter of whether I believe you or not. This is an issue, and I am here to help. So we'll tackle it together, thoroughly. Okay?
Right. Thanks, Doctor. God, it already feels like a weight has been lifted. This whole thing, it just felt so wrong.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Go on. Off with you. I need to root around these filing cabinets, and I'm sure that's not worth hanging about for. Give me 10 minutes, and we'll continue.
Right you are.
Security? I need a team in my office in 2 minutes. No. No, they haven't shown any aggression. Isolate immediately. Oh, Mrs. Dawson? Mrs. Dawson, come back! The paranoid fool was snooping on us. No, I don't care. Now. Unless you want to be chasing him all over the hills, you better get up here fast.